CGCP 2439 by Chesthetica. White has a pair of bishops, a pair of knights and a pawn against black's rook, bishop and pawn. So white is ahead in material. Now what should white do here? How about knight to c7 check? Well then, king to b7, maybe bishop to d4 defending the pawn, rook to f8 check. Rooks are still quite formidable, even though the army may be down overall in material. King to e3, rook to g8 perhaps, knight to e5, rook to g3 check, king to e4, rook g7, maybe king to d5, and you can see how white is closing in here and will eventually win this game. But let's take a look at the original position again. Is there a better way? Here we go. Yes, as you can see, there is a mate in 5. Bishop to c6 check. Now if bishop to b7, knight to c7 mates immediately. So rook to b7. And you might think capturing this rook is the intention, and I suppose many less experienced players would do this. And after bishop recaptures with check and the king moves, you can see from the analysis there's no clear way to force this mate, at least not in a reasonable amount of time. So white plays instead bishop to e5. Now notice that black does not have any moves because the b8 square is guarded by that bishop and the king can't move to a7 either. And the black bishop on a6 is completely trapped. So black has to play b4. And now the knight on the d file, not the e file because that would delay the mate, but the d file to c5. This double attacks the rook. So if the bishop moves away, let's say maybe to f1, bishop captures b7 will be mate. Black could just create a delay with bishop to e2 check, king captures e2, and after b3, bishop captures rook with mate. But what if black goes directly for b3? White still has a way to win, and that is knight captures bishop. And it's not because the knight wants to return to c5 so the mate can be completed on b7. No. After black plays b2, the only move, knight on the e file to c7 with mate. Notice how this knight blocks the bishop on e5 from its defense of b8. So the king could move there, unless of course there was a knight on a6 like there is now. This is why you can see it was important earlier that the knight on the d file moved to c5 and not this knight on the e file, because this knight on the e file will be needed to go to c7 and deliver mate. Thanks for watching. Until the next one.
Chesthetica's Book of Chess Constructs, Volumes 1 through 5. Available on Amazon.